Members of the European Parliament, officials in the European Commission and in the Council, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dirk Messner. I'm the president of the German Environmental Agency, UBA. I'm very happy to welcome you here in Dessau in our main offices and premises. Originally, of course, I wanted to be with you in Brussels in the European Parliament, but the COVID-19 pandemic made us stay at home. The German Environment Agency, abbreviated as UBA, is the scientific environmental authority under the jurisdiction of the Federal Ministry for Environment, Nature Conservation and Nuclear Safety. We work with 1,600 people on issues of environmental degradation, impacts of environmental change on human societies, climate change, resource challenges, global environmental changes, and the impact of all of this on human well-being, our societies and our economies. And based on this analysis, we look for solutions. We are working in 4 major fields, actually. We are doing research, and based on our research, we formulate political advice, so the science policy interface is very important for us. And we are also implementing science-based environmental legislation. And the last element of our work is that we interact with society. We build networks with actors to drive sustainability and environmental-oriented transformations in our society and our economy. Our institution is important for environmental and sustainability policies in Germany and beyond that, because our solutions which we are producing are based on science. Therefore, we guarantee independency and transparency of facts and data, and therefore we are building the cornerstones for making good decisions. Most of environmental and sustainability challenges are global by nature, and therefore also for us international cooperation with international actors, with international science partners and European environment agencies across Europe is part of our work. The exhibition is about the science policy interface in the field of environmental policy and sustainability transformations. We focus on the major fields of dynamics towards sustainability transformations, focusing, for example, on climate change and energy issues, on urban issues and mobility, circular economy. And this, interestingly, is now related to the European Green Deal, of course, and therefore we are excited as German Environment Agency to work with European actors, with the European Parliament, with the European Council, with the European Commission on the European Green Deal, because this is part of what UBA is good at and interested in. The COVID crisis marks an exceptional moment in history, I would argue, because we are now investing around the globe 12 to 20 trillion US dollars during the next months to come. And therefore, we will drive economic transformation fundamentally. And if we would use these investments to fight the social and economic consequences of COVID to trigger sustainability transformations in the field of energy transformation, in the field of new mobility structures, in the field of rebuilding and developing further our urban areas, and in the field of rebuilding and developing further circular economies and driving industrial transformation towards sustainability and climate protection, we could make a real difference. Our exhibition is focusing, as I already said, on the science policy interface, so how to build the bridges between knowledge creation and science and policymakers and decision makers. And on the other hand side, of course, we focus on environmental and sustainability issues which are relevant and key for Europe. And the Green European Deal is an important anchor for that. So let's move into the exhibition and have a look what we would like to talk about with you. And we will have conversations with several experts. Sustainability transformations in line with the Paris Agreement and the sustainability agenda at large require systemic and integrated approaches to understand those. Do you have examples for narratives and scenarios to describe these transformations?
In recent years, an interdisciplinary group of researchers at the German Environmental Agency, together with universities and outside institutions, developed possible transformation paths into a greenhouse gas neutral and resource efficient Germany. The 6 scenarios we developed have the aim to change into a 100% renewable energy future have higher energy efficiency and higher material efficiency, but also they implicate some changes into lifestyles like healthier diets and less flights.
What are the main insights of your scenario studies?
Firstly, the rescue study shows that it is possible to change until 2050 in Germany to a resource-efficient and greenhouse gas neutral society. Second, we learned a huge amount of insights into the different sectors, what is necessary to change in the energy system, in the heating system, in the mobility system, in the way of consumption and production. Third, we learned that the demand for materials is a problem in the future. The demand for copper, cobalt and lithium will increase dramatically, and we have to have a more efficient use of them. We have to change to a more circular use of these materials, and last but not least, we also have to substitute some of them future scarce material like copper. Finally, the good message is that we can cope with the Paris Agreement. We can stay below 1.5 degrees, but we have to start immediately and we have to do it with a high ambition. And this is something that is not solvable only on a national level. It has to be done on a European level, and that's where we can interact with the European Green Deal, where we can bring in some new ideas about how to have a systemic solution for a greenhouse gas neutral and material efficient Europe.
The European Union aims at decarbonizing Europe by 2050. Why is it so difficult to decarbonize the building stock?
We know that the building stock responds very slowly to changes. The building parts last for decades, and we have many players with many different interests and sometimes also low knowledge. The consequences are that the refurbishment rate remains on a very low level, the energy and greenhouse gas savings in Germany are slowing down, and the heated space even increases. We have goals for the building stock in Germany, but we are going to fail it for 2020 and are still searching for effective measures for 2030.
Decarbonization means zero emissions for the energy sector, including the building sector. What do we need for decarbonizing our buildings?
We need a combination of measures. At first, more and deeper renovations, either all at once or step by step. New buildings should be net zero energy buildings or net zero carbon buildings. Generally, we should stop using fossil fuels. That means to end the installation of gas and oil boilers as soon as possible, which at the moment still make 80% of the market.
The European Union is going to launch a renovation wave. How is this initiative helping and supporting to decarbonize our building sector?
The renovation wave should follow a comprehensive approach. That means at first we need general economic incentives by higher prices for fossil fuels or carbon emissions. You can call this get people by the wallet approach. Then we need a push by legal requirements and a pull by funding programs for the most climate-friendly buildings. In addition, we need more information and consultation to motivate the building owners. Finally, the decarbonization of the building stock can only be tackled if it is carried out in a socially responsible manner.
Another very important topic high on the European agenda is on circular economy. This is a complex issue. It is also related to decarbonization, and it is relevant for each sector of each economy actually. What kind of work is UBA doing in this field?
The circular economy, as described by the European Commission, aims at a profound change of the economic system. It addresses various areas of law and policy, and it goes far beyond what has been understood as circular economy in Germany so far. We saw the need to flesh out and illustrate this new direction and broader meaning of circular economy in a systemic way. We therefore developed guidelines for a circular economy, and they define objectives, scope, requirements and success factors for a circular economy, and they can serve as a common denominator. Let me pick out one out of the 9 interlinked guidelines. Guideline 7 is on product design, and I brought this piece, for illustration, it's a product that won the German Federal Eco-Design Award last year. The soap bottle by young designer Johanna Breitenhuber is a soap-based package for liquid hygiene products. And I think it's a fantastic example for the rethinking of packaging. The packaging is also a product. It avoids waste, that's our guideline 6. It contributes to the objectives of the circular economy. It's an example for cascaded material cycles. And finally, it encourages users to reflect on packaging and their responsibility for resource-conserving, sustainable circular economy.
In addition to creating a circular economy, the zero pollution ambition is an important, different and additional goal in the European Green Deal. And we at UBA, of course, support that. For decades, we have been collecting and analyzing data in this field and developing also policy recommendations, looking at air, water, but also including air pollution, indoor air pollution. Why is indoor air quality so important?
Most of us spend around 90% of our time or even more in indoor spaces. And therefore, the air in buildings has a continuous impact on our health. To avoid hazardous emissions in indoor spaces, we need good tools for planners to create healthy buildings. And one of these tools would be a declaration or a label on construction products that can emit gaseous substances called volatile organic compounds, or VOC.
Why are VOCs dangerous?
VOCs have different impacts on our health. The effects may range from a bad smell and irritation of eyes, nose and throat to long-term effects and effects on our nervous system. VOCs may promote allergies and they can even cause cancer. Here in our UBA headquarters, when the building was constructed in 2004, it was a bad smell of a floor covering that made us detect a carcinogenic substance in indoor air.
The European Commission is planning to issue a delegated act on the communication of VOCs, VOC emissions from construction products. What is important regarding this issue from your perspective?
In Europe, so far, health requirements on construction products are rather weak, and they don't include VOC. In Germany, we have an evaluation scheme which is extensive, but we also need European harmonization. For this delegated act, we need 3 things. One is reference values called EU LCI for the different VOC. The second is limitation of carcinogens. And the third is to grasp the additive effects of VOC, which are really important, and these are explained in our scientific opinion paper. The declaration of VOC is important to get more information on construction products, and this is just one step to minimize pollution in our environment.
In order to meet the zero pollution ambition, we need, among other things, effective chemical regulation. With regard to the environment, we are in Germany the competent authority for the regulation of plant protection products, biocides, pharmaceuticals and REACH. Could you tell me how your work looks like regarding REACH?
Well, our focus is on substances of very high concern, substances that need regulation under REACH because of their impact to the environment. And one example is bisphenol A. Bisphenol A interacts with the hormonal system of man and environment, and it enters the environment. So what we do is we identify such substances as substances of very high concern for the environment, but we also look at further regulatory measures which might be needed under REACH, and we look at possible alternatives in order to avoid what is called regrettable substitution.
Apart from BPA and the related more general challenges of REACH, what are other topics which are on your agenda?
Well, in order to substitute such substances of very high concern, consumers play a very important role, and we therefore developed an app called Scan4Chem, which helps consumers to find information on such substances in articles. And we focus on more general topics such as mixtures or endocrine disruptors, of course, and very persistent chemicals, which are also mentioned in the Green Deal, and we do that in a cross-legislation manner. And we really appreciate that the Green Deal acknowledges the importance of these topics.
I thank you very much for having joined me in this short tour through the exhibition. If you are interested to learn more about these issues and other environmental and sustainability transformation questions, please look at our homepage. And if you do have questions to our experts, you can contact us via mail. We are planning to come to Brussels with a physical exhibition next year, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person then in Brussels.